All right, and welcome to another edition of the I'm Always Right Sports Podcast. I'm your host, as always, the Mouth of Michigan, Ron Bedecker. With me, as always, my co-host, the Merc Zone, Mike Merkel.
I'm here.
We have so much to go over today, Mike. We are going to go over what we think of the Lions so far right before they play the Eagles and possible scenarios depending on the outcome of that game.
Yes.
We're also going to talk the University of Michigan debacle and that apt beatdown they had by Wisconsin a couple days ago. We're also going to talk Michigan State and their debacle of the season, so especially their offense. Later, we're going to talk NXT's debut on the USA Network and what you thought of it. I know you're hypercritical of the NXT product at the moment. And then we're also going to talk the Clash of Champions pay-per-view that they had last week and how awful and a waste of time it was for everybody involved. So we're really looking forward to lots of great stuff to talk about this week, guys. Let's just jump right into it. Lions 1-0-1. As of this recording, right? They play Philadelphia today, later today. Overall thoughts on the Lions, what you're seeing, just overall, what are you seeing from this team? Are you more content this year than they were last year? Record aside for a second, are you happier with the product you're seeing on the field compared to last year?
Well, here's how I argue with everyone that I hate at my work right now. That's a shout out to everyone I hate at work right now on this situation. I compare it to last year. On a scale 1 to 10, they started the year at like a -8.
Yeah, that's true. They couldn't have started anywhere.
Yeah, and they got to, I think, about like a 3 or 4 at the end. They still weren't very good, but they were like, a team. Yeah, they were a team.
Yeah.
This year, I think they started off at like a 2.
Yeah.
Like I think they actually dominated for 3.5 quarters.
Yeah.
And then it kind of let slip away. And then the second game against the Chargers, as you see, the defense is the system that puts the whole thing together.
Yeah.
So about a 2 start.
Yeah.
But if you can only get better from this point. That's a way better start than last year.
Yeah.
So I don't mind where they're at. Yeah. Honestly, going in, I thought they were going to be 1-3 after the first 4 games.
Right.
So not having a loss yet, even if it's an inevitable 1-2-1, I don't know if it will be.
Yeah.
But 1-2-1 isn't even that bad, I guess.
Right.
I'd take that over.
Well, this is the toughest part of their schedule, obviously, where they play Philadelphia at Philly, then they have the Kansas City at home, and then they have their bye, and they go to Lambeau for Monday night. So that's a tough stretch of schedule, no doubt about it. What do you see? What's the biggest positive that you're seeing out of this team so far? Because I have a couple, but I want to hear what you have to say first. Like, what's one thing that you go, I like what they're doing in this area, whether it's something that they're doing with Stafford, whether it's the defense, whether it's the run game, even though it hasn't really came across yet. Are you seeing some positives out of that? Give me one thing that you're noticing from year 1 to year 2 of this Patricia era to tell you to say, I can see where this is going, or you kind of see the picture.
Yeah. I really like the linebacking core that they have.
Yeah.
I thought that was going to be the weakest part of their team. Turns out to be like the strength of their team.
Right.
Whoop-de-doo for us. Actually, I think the defensive line, I looked at it differently.
Yeah.
I thought that they were just going to be pass rushers and be like Khalil Mack and just get in there.
No.
I think what their actual goal was for them to have to double team everybody, so you have free release from the linebackers. That's never something I really considered.
Right.
But like a Trey Flowers, I don't expect him to go rip past the tackle and go get a sack.
Right.
But what he is going to do is he's going to sit there and have the tackle and the guard have to double team him, and Snacks is there. He's going to need the double team.
Right.
And they have Aquara who can maybe get single or double team. Now you got Mike Daniels in there.
Kennard.
So all these guys are getting doubled. You bring 5 guys and you need to double. There's not enough people for our players coming in.
Keep that tight end in, which has been a problem historically with lines covering the tight end.
Yeah. So I think from that aspect of like the D line, what they're doing now to what I thought they were going to do before this season, and actually the linebackers playing to their full potential
without Jared Davis.
Yeah,
he's hopefully playing today, but
he's listed as probable. I think today, so he should be playing today. Against the Eagles, but I think that would even add extra help to that.
Sure. Absolutely.
Add an extra rotational guy there.
Right. What's the biggest negative? What's one thing that you were hoping to see maybe an improvement of, or maybe that's something that you had worries about that hasn't been realized, or maybe something you thought was going to come in as a strength, and you're like, man, this is not.
I thought the running game would be a lot better because as you hear it's like, we're running first, and I'm like, I guess we're more pass first all of a sudden,
right?
Because we only run it on like second down ever. Yeah, we don't run it on first down rarely, and third down we're like, we can't run, so we'll pass. So the run game, I was like, wow, I thought that was gonna be really good. I thought 3-4 yards a carry was gonna be a thing. It's not, but I think cutting C.J. Anderson might fix that problem because now you're going to get more the Johnson brother.
Well, that's a hot take a little bit because I've spoken to several people about this where they were confused why they cut C.J. Anderson because they're like, he didn't really do anything, but if you look at the statistics behind it, what was C.J. Anderson brought in to do? He was brought in to get what? 2nd and 1, 3rd and 1. Yeah. He was supposed to be that. On those situations, he's converted once for a total net yardage of -6 yards on the season throughout 2 games. Yeah. So even though, yes, has he had spurts of, he had a nice run here, he had a nice run here. Yes, but the purpose of why you're here, the role, and if we're going with this Patriot way, everybody has a very unique skill set, and everybody has one job. You're supposed to be really good at one thing, right? Trey Flowers is not a sack artist, but he is a good overall consistent pressure player, right? He fits within the scheme. Devin Kennard is a bull rushing jack linebacker, right? Everybody's got a specific need, a specific job. C.J. Anderson's job was to be 3rd and 1. We should pound the rock behind Frank Ragnow and get a first down. That has not happened.
Yeah.
So your point of him not being on this team anymore, I think, is right on the money. Where I think now, okay, you got Ty Johnson in the game. Okay, you got Carrion. Okay, you've even got McKissick. Those are 3 guys that, in some aspects, have very similar skill sets where they're fast, they're athletic, right? You can run, you can throw. You don't know what's going to happen. C.J. Anderson, he ain't throwing the football to C.J. Anderson almost ever. You know what I mean? And if you bring him in on 3rd and 1, let's load the box. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because even if you do play action, you're going to face heavy pressure, right? Which is going to force you to a bad throw, which can cause a turnover at the end of the day. I think that's a great observation. I think one thing for me, the positive I would say is Stafford's play. I know he had the 2 interceptions last week, but overall I think the deep ball is back a little bit for him. I think that he's been extremely accurate. I think the willingness for Bevel to, like that 3rd and 6 call at the end of the game, of the Chargers game, is exactly the kind of thing that I like to see, right? It's don't run it and punt it and hope to God we can get another stop. No, just end it. Let's just try and end it now. It's a risk, yes, and if it blows up today, I'm sure people will be pissed off that they didn't run the ball, but I'm more content with them trying to go for the throat and end the game than play it safe like they did in week 1 and let the game kind of just fade away. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? The negative for me, I would say, it would be the consistency of the run defense. I think that's something that needs to improve drastically. I think even though Austin Eckler, I think, only had like 60 yards on the day, the total, I think they're averaging like 120-some yards a game right now, allowing. So that's got to be cleaned up, especially with your secondary as thin as it is. That's something that really needs to be cleaned up pretty much immediately. Because, and I think that's going to take time. I think it's going to take time to gel. Flowers didn't play at all during the preseason. Snacks played very limited. Mike Daniels barely played. You had a lot of things that I think are still, you're trying to fit those pieces together. So I'm hoping that kind of comes together. And I think the pressure of Jared Davis, who will hopefully be blitzing more with Tavai manning the real true middle linebacker position, I think is really, really, really going to help them out long term. What's is your outlook after, let's say they win this week? What's your outlook on this team? Let's say they get to 2-0-1 going into the Chiefs game. If they win this week, is your outlook any different as if they lose?
Yeah.
So they lose, they're 1-1-1. They win, they're 2-0-1.
I think they're about the same because I do think this is a big game for them because it's a very winnable game with the injuries. I would say if the Eagles were at full health, I would expect them to lose. I would not have much faith. The Eagles are super deep and everything, but with how hurt they are, I would expect them to win. And winning this one is one of those where, as I said before, the beginning of the season, you're like, oh, they're going to be 1-3. How are they going to get to 9-10 wins? Right. Now you can go 2-1-1 after 4 games. Right. Now you're like, wait, now you can win those Redskins Giant, and now you can maybe hit 9-10 wins a lot easier than we thought before. No doubt. So I think this is a big one for them. I would say it's bigger than anything that you're going to come up against the next couple weeks because this is one of those make or break. You win and you have that great positioning. You lose to a team that's super hurt and everything. You're like, well, that's rough.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Does it make you? So if they win, are you steadfast in saying they can get to 10 wins and get a playoff berth, or are you not willing to make that call just yet? I think you gotta wait until like after the Green Bay game almost to like.
I want to. Well, yeah, because if you start 0-1 against Green Bay, that's not a good start.
Yeah, that's not great.
Yeah, because I'm expecting the loss to the Chiefs. Yeah. I'm not really hoping for anything there. And Packers, I have no idea how they're gonna come out and play against them.
Right. So after the bye.
So I know. So I'm like, if you can hit 2-0-1 after this week, you can afford those 2 losses and be like
you're 500 going into
kind of 500
going into a
650.
lighter stretch of your
exactly. So then you can start piling up those wins that you should be getting in the middle of your schedule, and then near the end, maybe you can make that late run to get there.
Yeah, right. I think this game is important, just like I thought the Arizona game is important. Right, nobody would have ever called me tied them for sure, but with this game, especially as banged up as they are, I do think that this is. I like the way this team is going. I know this hasn't been beautiful football. It was an ugly win last week, right? But you beat I get the Chargers were banged up, but they still beat a good Charger team. Let's not like pretend that that's not a thing. This Philadelphia team is still good. They still have players there. That defense is still, they've got, their secondary's healthy. They still have Fletcher Cox. They've got pieces there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Their offense is banged up for sure.
Yeah.
Sean Jackson, Alshon Jeffrey, that's a rough go.
Yeah,
you're going in with your 3, 4, 5 receivers.
Yeah.
That's not the best thing. And I'm hoping that the defense has a day because of it, right? Wentz is still a factor, obviously, so it's a big game for them. I'm hoping, to me, they beat Philadelphia, then you go, okay, the Chargers in Philadelphia, you look at that on paper, you go, those are probably 2 losses more than likely, right, with the Arizona being a win. So now you tell me, if you would have told me at the beginning of the year, you're going to be 2-1 going into Kansas City, I'd be like, sweet. You know what I mean? Because it doesn't matter at that point what happens. So really hoping that they're able to clean up some stuff and get the win today. Hopefully we'll come on the show next week and be like, oh my God, 2-1. We're still undefeated. Let's shift now to the University of Michigan. Unfortunately, they get blown out in Wisconsin, 35-14. At one point, it was 35-0. Shea Patterson gets pulled, and then McCaffrey goes in for a minute, and then McCaffrey gets hurt, and
McCaffrey almost died.
Yeah, he almost died, and then Patterson comes back in. Then it was too late. Joe Milton comes in and does nothing. Thoughts on this Michigan football team, particularly this game? What happened? So frustrating. We called it. Let's be clear.
Yeah, I know. I didn't really expect them to go out to win.
Yeah.
I expected it to be a little more competitive.
It was. At one point, I think they had 96 yards offense in the first half. That was their total in the first half.
Total yardage in the first half. So 237
that's
to the other team.
All running, by the way. Yeah. Wisconsin had 250 some yards rushing.
I'll give credit where credit's due. I think Wisconsin is
a good team.
The second best team. If not, you could compete for the best team in the Big Ten right now.
Yeah.
Pretty easily.
When they play Ohio State, that's going to be a game to watch.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
They're going to play them, and they're going to play them twice this year because they're going to win their side, and Ohio State's going to win our side.
Yeah, exactly.
That's going to be a thing.
No doubt.
So that would be an awesome Big Ten title game to watch also. But I think Michigan lacks in. I don't think they have enough names on the defense yet. Mm-hmm. They kind of just look overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Don Brown had no defensive strategy at all. He went, okay, so we're going to put 6 guys in the box against the best running back in the nation right now, and hopefully that works.
Yeah, they throw the ball 6 times a game.
Yeah, they almost like an Army team, but just had better.
Not only that, you're coming off a bye.
Yeah.
You're coming off the bye. You had 2 weeks to prepare, and that's what you come out with. Yeah. That's, offensively, defensively, it doesn't matter. Holy mother of Lord, come on.
Yeah,
man.
Wisconsin was oh yeah, we're going to come off a bye too.
Yeah, Wisconsin's literally going to go, we're really going to run the ball down your throat, and you're not going to be able to stop it. And Michigan went, that sounds about right. Yeah, that's awesome. That's then our offense, that's supposed to be high-powered, with this great offense, it's flat, it's unimaginative, and it's ineffective.
Yeah, our offensive line
is terrible.
Had the worst game in I couldn't even tell you how long.
Yeah,
I would love to come on, and I know you would too. Yeah. Shea did so bad, but literally comparing it to a video game standpoint, I feel that because there's times when receivers just don't get open and you have 0.5 seconds to do anything, and then I just get angry. I'm there's nothing you can do. That's what Shea's feeling.
Yeah,
he gets the snap and there's 3 guys at him already, and there's literally no separation anywhere. Yeah. I can't say anything about
his offensive line is not helping him at all. I don't think Shea Patterson is playing well by any stretch of the imagination, but I agree with you by saying that he is not being helped. It's not like he's sitting back there for 12 seconds and still throwing those bad passes. He's getting pressured early, and teams know it, and teams know they can get pressure. So there's got to be something. There's got to be something else that they can do to draw something up. I'm sorry, but all these 4 or 5-star recruits, every time they come in here, they look terrible. I don't know what needs to change. Is this the start? I know a lot of people are calling for Harbaugh's head today, and I don't want to go that crazy, but is this the start of the end of Harbaugh's era? If they don't bounce back, right? Say we go 8-4, right? We lose to Notre Dame by a lot. We get destroyed by Ohio State. We dropped another game. Hopefully not to the Spartans. We'll talk about them in a second.
Hope not. Oh my God.
If they go say 8-4, 9-3, right? Go to a, whatever bowl game and are just meh, right? Yeah. Is this the start where people start to turn on Harbaugh? This is year 5.
I mean, I think people are already turning on him.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know. It's hard for me to say because he's kind of in a tough spot where he went, okay, we're going to bring in this new system because we want to change offenses. So he totally left the offense and he went, you do this.
Right.
And now he trusts Don Brown to get a defense together too. I think he has too much faith almost in his coordinators.
Yeah.
I think that's really where he's going. Like, he doesn't just go, okay, let me take this over. Like, he's like, okay, so you know this new offense because it worked in other places. So just fix your offense and do it this way. Yeah. And Don Brown, I trust you because of your defense last year and the year before or whatever. Yeah. So run the defense.
Right.
And both of those are like failing. And he's like, I don't know how to do both.
I think that's a great take because I'm kind of frustrated with Don Brown. I'm sorry, but this whole Dr. Blitz thing, that's great. But in the biggest games, right, you played Ohio State, couldn't get it done. You got absolutely demolished, right? Again, and 2 years ago when you were supposed to be good, you couldn't do anything against teams like Ohio State. Even Michigan State was able to move the ball on you. So there's a lot of different games, big games. The Notre Dame game last year is another one where they just went right down the field and scored. Yeah. I mean, you had big name talent on your defense, and you couldn't stop people when it mattered the most. Yeah. Like, I get shutting out teams like BYU 31-0. That's great. Whoop-de-doo. But in the long-term scheme of things, if you're not able to shut teams down like Wisconsin, like Penn State, like Ohio State, like Michigan State, hell, even, teams like Northwestern, for goodness sakes. I mean, you got to be able to shut these teams down in your conference, and they have not done that consistently. They really, really have not.
Yeah, that's why when people just try to give the full blame to Harbaugh, I'm like, I get it because he's the head coach.
He's the head coach, right.
But I'm sitting there, I'm like, but you can't just go, it's all his fault, because it's not all Patricia's fault. It's not all this guy's fault. Like, it's like he trusts his coordinators to do that.
Why are you here if you can't do what I'm asking?
Like when the offensive coordinator for the Lions called a timeout, it's like, I'm going to trust my OC because he's been here a while, he knows what he's doing, and maybe it was the wrong call or not, but he's trying to
live with that.
You have to trust your guys, and right now he's trusting guys who aren't getting it done for him.
I think Harbaugh would be best suited here. And what's their ceiling? Let me ask you that first. Well, what's their ceiling? Is it 9 wins?
This year, I would say about 9. 10, maybe 10 if you can push it a little bit. Yeah. There's a thing where in the college football trend, this offense that they're trying to run takes an average of 5 to 7 games to really sink in. Yeah. It's a very complex and hard offense to run. Yeah. And especially because a fifth-year senior is changing his entire scheme. Right. So it's probably pretty hard on him.
Not the reason why you should be playing Patterson.
Yeah. But he has no other option now. Yeah. McCaffrey's dead. Yeah. So. Yeah. But anyway, so.
We have another bye.
We actually do have another bye.
I know. Later on.
But yeah, it takes 5 to 7 weeks to actually get it together, and it doesn't help that in the second and third week you play Army and then Wisconsin, who are very good teams. Mm-hmm. So you didn't really get a couple games in. Well, you didn't get Alabama where you get 5 games to really go, okay, let's test some stuff out before we hit the LSUs and the Georgias and stuff. Right. Like Michigan's week 3. Wisconsin, best team in the Big Ten, go at them. Yeah. And you're like, oh, okay, cool.
But I will say this, though, that this team, though, as much hype as it got and everything else, the schedule is what it is. They need to come out better. Straight up. I mean, this team looked unprepared. It didn't look like it was ready to go. You know what I mean? I think Wisconsin just went, we're going to have our way with you and just leave you there and be like, well, that was fun, and then, leave you alone. So, I think it was. I think people are recognizing that there's some fractures in this whole thing, right? You can't just look at this now with rose-colored glasses and everything's great. Everything's great. We had 10 wins, whatever. I think people are really starting to feel that pressure a little bit. Just like I think Michigan State is a little bit, where you're like, okay, we're supposed to have this great defense, but we can't do anything offensively, and we're losing games late. So there's changes that need to be made, and I wouldn't be shocked to see after the season major overhauls to the coaching staff. Yeah. I don't think Harbaugh gets fired clearly, but they need to turn it around and quickly.
That's why it's hard in college because you go, 10 wins. It's like if a coach in the NFL goes 11 wins. Yeah, right. You're like, I'm not going to fire you, but that wasn't a good however many wins.
It's different,
Yeah, it's a different thing. It's like, you got 10 wins. Okay, we'll keep you on. And it's like, but
Right.
Was that meaningful 10 wins, or was it not?
And that's the thing too.
I mean?
Do you think that if so let's just play like super optimist here for a second. Say they go on a tear here, right? And they just go out and they beat Notre Dame, they beat Michigan State, they go undefeated up into Ohio State, right? And let's just say they get demolished by Ohio State again. Is that considered a success again for a season? Considering where they're at now.
Yeah, I would say so. If they show out and they're like really playing well in the next 10 or
because Notre Dame still, I know they lost to Georgia yesterday, but they're still a very good football team.
That's one. Yeah, I would say going through, I'd be like, yeah, I think it's a success from where they're at the second. Going wow, there's nowhere they can go to starting to dominate some teams and stuff. I would say that's a success. That's like at least a step forward. I hope to see at least halfway through. I think we have like 2 lesser Big Ten games before you hit the next Penn State or whoever you're going to play. I hope to see the offense start meshing, so when you hit that game, I think the next one is like Iowa or Penn State. Mm-hmm. I think that's the game I want to see the offense really show, because if the offense doesn't show in the next 3 or 4 weeks, then it's never gonna show.
It's never right. Yeah, absolutely, no doubt about it. Absolutely. All right, after the break, we're gonna talk Michigan State football, because that ought to be fun and boring for everybody involved, because that's what it feels like watching a Michigan State game. It's boring as can be. And then we're gonna talk NXT's debut on the USA Network, and we're gonna end the show on some Clash of Champions talk to end it, and how we liked everything about it. It's like all that good stuff after the break. Stick around. And we're back with part 2 of episode 43 of the I'm Always Right Sports Podcast. 43, Mike.
Yep. That's how many points Tom Brady's going to get this week on my fantasy team.
There you go, right? Yeah, I know. Hopefully, right? I mean, who do they play?
They played the Jets.
The Jets?
So there's a chance.
That's a rough go. All right, let's jump in right now to another debacle. Michigan State football. They lose to Arizona State 2 weeks ago on some controversial calls, quote-unquote, possibly. I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt because I don't believe you, but it's fine. They sent it 3-1. They won this week. Thoughts on the Spartans so far in this awesome, sweet offense?
I'm not laughing at the Spartans. They're not bad.
Their offense is terrible. Let's be clear. Their offense is absolutely terrible. It's like, oh my lord, terrible.
That's all I can say.
Yeah.
Their defense is and their offense is
well,
no.
You know, here's my question. Well, here's my question about that, though. This defense, right, was touted as like, wow, this defense is legit, right? Arizona State, at the end of that game, drove down twice to win that football game. Now, I get it. If your offense is going 3 and out every drive, you can only put up 10 points against Arizona State, I understand. You're probably a little tired, but that's where the focal point of your defense is supposed to be.
Yeah.
And I seen Western. I know Western didn't put up a ton of points, but Western even 2 or 3 weeks ago was able to move the football.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I need that defense to start stepping up a little bit. I know they're carrying the team. Let's go
I know. Obviously,
next to it. But my point being is that if their offense is only going to put up 13 points a game, then that defense is supposed to be the strength of the team, needs to be the strength of the team. It needs to be like, lock it down. Like, everyone thought this defense was going to be like when they went to the Final Four. This defense is not as good as that defense is.
I want to argue that point.
Yeah.
I think that's putting a little too much unfairness on that defense.
I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying that if you're supposed to be the highly toutedest, like the greatest defense ever, you better be able to shut down Ohio State. But they're not going. But they're not going to. That's what I'm saying.
Well, so, I think they can hold Ohio State to like a 20-ish point game, maybe low 30s or something.
Yeah.
But then at the end of the day, you have to look at and you go, well, then they have to score that much.
Right.
That's where they're only going to score 3 points, maybe 10. Because Ohio State has a better defense.
Hey, they scored like 28 or 31 yesterday, whatever.
Yeah, but they played Northwestern.
Yeah, right.
Probably the worst defense in the Big Ten. But I think that's a little too unfair. I mean, they only held, they held them to 0 their first game, like 14 to Western.
Yeah. 10
to Arizona State, and 3 to Northwestern.
But they haven't played anybody either.
Well, but that's what I mean though. Yeah. Like, what their highest scoring game was 14 points.
Oh, I agree.
And you still lose a game somehow.
Yeah.
Like if Michigan is sitting there and they hold all their teams at 10 points, we're undefeated right now.
Yeah.
That's obviously not happening. But I get that State's going to play like Wisconsin soon, and they're going to play Ohio State, and that's a real test for their defense. Mm-hmm. But I do think the defense can hold them to a mid-20, low 30 kind of game, which is like holding for them, because other teams obviously can score 76.
Right. Yeah. Now, as much fun as we make fun of the defense, I do think this is a philosophical problem with what Michigan State is trying to do. Clearly, Mark D'Antonio is okay with winning football games on the strength of their defense, right? Like, he's very clear about that. And his inability, basically, to put up any sort of points whatsoever. Is that a smart strategy, though? Not taking the record out of it for a second. Is that a smart strategy long term? I don't know much longer he plans on coaching. He's kind of up there in age, but as far as a good strategy in this era of football, where everybody is, I mean, you have to be able to put up major points to be a good football team. Whether it's Bama, whether it's Clemson, because even in the big games where like Bama gives up 35 points. They're able to put up 42. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I think I don't know if it's bad. I think it's risky.
Yeah.
Because I think you're playing with fire at that point. I think that's honestly kind of what Michigan was going to try to do. Was like, hey, we can hold you to 14-21. Our offense should be good enough to score that many. Right. I think that's kind of what State's mindset's. Okay, if our defense is going to be amazing and we can hold them to 13 or 20 at most or whatever, maybe our offense can score that much and win. But I think at the end of the day, with how the offenses are now, that philosophy is almost broken. Now, if you can win games like that, good for you. If you can hold a team to 10 points every game, congratulations. I just think that if you're going to play the odds, I'm going to say that 9 games this year are going to be over 10 or 17 points that you're going to play. Just inevitably playing Ohio State and stuff, that they're going to score points on you, in which case it's not a good strategy. But it's risky because I guess if you can make it work for you, maybe it works out. I don't know.
I think the difference, right? People looked at this team similar to what they did the year they went to the Final Four in the defensive side, right?
Yeah.
But the offensive side is so barren with talent, right? And the scheme is so poor. It's just Lewerke's awful. As much crap as we give Shea Patterson, I'd rather Shea Patterson over Brian Lewerke any day, twice on Sunday. So, but like, he's just not good, right? They're not helping their defense. I think is the biggest thing. At least other teams with poor offenses are at least not going 3 and out every single time, where it's just like, oh my gosh, it's 3rd and 4. Now we're gonna power run that sucker. Like, come on, like you can't operate like that long term and expect your defense to hold up.
Yeah,
if anything else.
I would say it's different. And going back to the strategy of let's hold them to 10 points. Yeah. I think it's a reliable strategy if your offense is going to be on the field for half the game.
Right. Yeah.
You know
what I mean?
Like, I'm like, if you expect your defense to be out for 10 plus plays, hold them to 3, and then go sit down for 35 seconds, and then go right back out there to hold them again, and do that consistently every week in, week out, every single drive. I think that's unreasonable for them.
Absolutely.
Like, you're like, you guys should only hold them to 10 points.
Yeah.
But if you're on the field for 55 minutes out of the 60-minute game, that's unreasonable to ask for that.
Right. Do you think right now, just based off of the state of both programs, right, both coming off of, State won last week, but they, were embarrassed at Arizona State, and now Michigan with that big, spanking they got from Wisconsin. Who wins?
Between them?
Yeah.
I'm going to say Michigan, only because I think Michigan can put up about 13 points, and that's all they're going to do. I think Michigan State's defense is going to hold Michigan, but I mean, our defense might not be as good.
Right.
But I think when you compare the phases, I think Michigan State has the best defense, but the worst offense, and we have the middle of both.
Yeah.
So I think that if we can score 17.
Yeah, maybe 20 points.
Maybe 20 or something.
Yeah, you're pretty much good there.
With the spread offense style or whatever.
Yeah. You only need a couple big plays.
Michigan State, I don't think it's going to move the ball. Even though our defense didn't look good against Wisconsin, who's a power run. Yeah. Who's Michigan State have that's going to do anything to us? That's how I feel about it. So I'm going to say Michigan wins, but it's going to be like a
ugly, boring.
Yeah, it's going to be at the one 2 years ago where it was 13-10 and State barely won.
Yeah.
It's going to be like that, but flip. I think Michigan wins 17-13 or something.
Yeah, something really, really boring. All right, let's talk now. Let's go to the squared circle. Let's talk NXT. We talked last week about how we viewed them possibly as a viable third brand. Yes. Now they debuted this past week on the USA Network. They did the first hour live on USA. Second hour they did on the network because it was already pre-recorded. Obviously, going forward, they will be 2 hours after this week, right?
Starting October 2nd, the same week as AEW. They're going to go 2 hours.
Right, there we go. So. Thoughts on the debut. Let's just talk. I mean, the second part on the USA, whatever, or on the network is whatever. But the hour that we saw, the presentation, the match quality, all that good stuff. Thoughts on the debut? Did WWE nail this for an opening week, knowing it was only going to go an hour?
Yeah.
Do you think they put on a good enough show to be like, yep, got it? Because they were really happy internally.
Yeah, I do think everything they wanted to accomplish, they did. Mm-hmm. I'm just worried for their long-term success going that way. I saw a lot of stuff I really didn't like, but I think that first hour, you had the Fatal 4-Way Women's match that was really good, and then you had Era doing their thing.
Right.
So I think both of those things really was like, oh wow, wait, I'd be interested. If I wasn't a fan and I watched that, I'd probably be like, wow, wait, that was kind of cool. I'd probably be interested. Yeah. But I'm very nervous for their long term because there were other stuff that I was like, I don't like this at all.
Right. Yeah. I thought they did a nice job of showcasing some of the women that they have. Right. You know, with the triple threat or 3 to 4 or whatever it was, establishing Shayna as a dominant champion. Right. For people who don't know. I thought the match between Velveteen and Roderick was really well done with the interference and everything. You don't hurt Dream, you know, with the amount of interference, but you could accomplish what you wanted with the era with all the titles, which is good. Do you think because of this, right now you have Adam Cole as NXT champion, Roddy as the North American, and obviously Bobby and Kyle O'Reilly with the tag titles. Is this a smart strategy for you, in your opinion, to build around the Undisputed Era? And here's why I'm asking this. Normally, because we're both pretty big Undisputed Era fans. However, I've seen some people on Twitter since then say, I don't get the Undisputed Era. Like, why do I hate them? Why do I want to see them, right? They just look like normal guys. Yeah. Now, we know that NXT is based strictly on the in-ring product. That is the majority of what this is a heavy in-ring product that produces great matches on a consistent basis from their top stars. That's what we expect, right? So, in your opinion, why is NXT, why is Triple H really hitching his wagon to these 4 guys, to this faction, and giving him all the championships, saying, these are our guys, let's go?
Well, I think those 4 guys give you some of the best match quality that you could get.
Absolutely.
I think outside of like Gargano, Riddle, and a few other guys, and Dream, obviously, I think those guys can give you consistently matches of that are really good for TV or whatever.
No doubt.
I do think they're a team that you can use as almost like a New Day kind of sense, where if you need them, they're obviously probably more heel than anything.
Right.
But if when Ciampa comes back, and he was going to be like super heel how he was before, Cole can almost turn into like a quick baby face and be like the good guy for a little bit in the segment until that's over, then go back to being like, I think you can flip flop, so it's like whoever you want to match up against this great match. Like, oh, yeah, Riddle's the good guy, so you're obviously going to be the bad guy.
Right.
Ciampa's the bad guy. Okay, I'm going to be a good guy for a second.
Right.
And then flip back, and it's like not noticeable. Like,
do you think there's a little bit of just that they're cool?
I do think so.
That they're just cool guys. Yeah. Like, you just look at them and you go, they're cool. Like,
I honestly like, they did a great job with theme music, with how they come out.
Fantastic.
Like, everything about the era, you just go, I wish I was a part of that.
Yes, exactly. And I think that is a great... I know it's something so low-key. It's not like, oh, yeah, they have this great presence like Stone Cold did or anything like that. But the package, the presentation, and I think in combination with the in-ring product, I think they're all very strong on the mic. I think that they make people want to watch. If nothing else, it's, all right, I just want to see what happens. Yeah. If nothing else.
I do think their mic work really helps out in this because, especially with the limited amount of mic work that happens in NXT, you get just enough where they just come out and they're just like, God, this guy sucks.
Yeah,
and it's just like you're just like, wow, wait, that's funny.
Yeah, right.
Like everything they say is just like, wow, wait, that's kind of funny.
I think Adam Cole on the mic is fantastic.
Yeah, I think all of them though, like Kyle O'Reilly on the mic, I think he just comes out and goes,
Bobby Fish,
they suck, and it's just like really funny.
Bobby Fish hasn't had a ton of time to talk, but Bobby is actually probably extremely strong. I think honestly, Roddy is probably the weakest on the mic.
I do too. I think so too.
But I think Bobby rivals Cole as far as mic work goes. Yeah. Like when he had a run in Ring of Honor where him and Kyle first tag team, that was Bobby's show. Like, Bobby was really the one, really the talking part about that. But I agree with you. I just think that that's something about them where everyone just kind of goes, yeah, man, like that was, you kind of feel it, you get that vibe.
Well, you kind of get that because those are the kind of guys you like, look, like even Austin, you come out and you're like, wow, he's like going against the management. Like, he's like the cool guy that you'd like want to hang out with and also like go, like, he's the right guy for that role. Right. I think all 4 of them are just like, they come out and you just go, I kind of want to be out there with them. Yeah. Like, honestly, like 100%, I think in my honest opinion, if I could hang out with anyone in WWE, it goes probably Era or Rollins. It's like a 1A, 1B for me. Like, I just love to like take a car ride with the era and just hang out with them and just talk. It'd be like so much fun. I think. That and Rollins, I think, are like my two.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think and once again, match quality. I think above all else, right? I think if this would have happened a year sooner, I think you would have seen Ciampa Gargano on top of this whole kind of thing. But
that's something that would have worried me though, and I'm glad that they finished all the storylines before doing this because just imagine their third fight, I think it was in Chicago, and then they go to TV and no one knows what's going on because the casual TV audience doesn't watch NXT that would have watched this live show. They'd be like, who's this guy? Why are they doing this? I think they added at a perfect time where like all the era won everything.
Yeah, now let's go.
And you just saw them interfere. Even if you have no idea who the guys are, they come out.
So these guys are bad guys.
Yes, they're like, these guys are the bad guys, but they come out and they're like giggling. They're like, oh my god, we just did. And you're like, wait, they're kind of like the cool guys.
Yeah, right. Like, they're cool, but I kind of don't like them at the same time because like they just cheated and they've got all the belts, which means they got to be good.
Yeah.
So what's gonna happen?
Like that whole scene of them just like winning and leaving gave us so much of what NXT is gonna be for next year.
Low-key though, like just as a fan, like my dream, like when he won, I kind of had a feeling he was going to. But I was like, yes, like this is like perfect. Like put like the bow tie on, like they're running NXT. They've all got titles now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just like. It's so Evolution-esque. I think they are a reincarnation of Evolution.
Yeah.
I think Horseman or even the Hart Foundation are better because Evolution had like an old guy and Rick and everything.
I was gonna say you don't have that old.
Yeah, but like from a faction standpoint, right? Like the Horsemen were all in their prime, right? You had Flair as the world champion, right? You had Tully as the mid-card guy, or Tully and Arn as the tag team, and then you had Barry Windham, or you had a Sting, or you had name a guy, right? And they were there. Luger as your middle card guy with, you know what I mean? So it's very Horseman-esque when you look at it and you go, okay, Roddy and Kyle O'Reilly were tag champs for a minute, like Tully Blanchard and Arn were, but Tully Blanchard was also at one point a United States champion. You know what I mean? So you kind of can, that you have a couple guys who can kind of reach up and go middle singles as well as be a great tag team.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I do think NXT has a lot of problems with the 2-hour show format, though.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, let's go into it. Yeah.
I think that you don't have enough there to fill 2 hours. I really don't.
Yeah.
After that first hour, I went, okay, that was like a good first hour. I think they're going to have the same problem that the main roster does have, in which case you do that first hour or whatever, and I was like, wow, that was a really good first hour. And then you get the second hour, and I went, so you have 4 matches that went about 2 minutes to build people up, but that's about it, and they're not going to go anywhere because you don't really have enough championships to kind of float around.
And I think and going back to the era for a second, though, I think that's why they have all the championships, though. Low-key. Because I think you can sprinkle those 4 guys out, right? Maybe, and have them throughout the show, right? Cole's in the main event going against Kushida. You've got, Roddy doing whatever. You've got Kyle versus somebody in a tag team, Bobby, or in a tag team. So I think they would be pillars in those 2 hours where you go, okay, we've got Kona Reeves versus whoever, right? We're going to try to reestablish Kona. Okay, then we've got, boom, good tag match, right? And then you've got the women's match. Okay, now we got Roddy versus whoever, right? And then, you know what I mean? Something to where you've got these guys who kind of established as the champions who can put on consistently good matches, which will then hopefully elevate everybody else and put it in there, like ACH did a couple weeks ago in NXT, right? I think Cole elevated ACH to a level where he goes, okay, like this can be a future guy, right? You've got, what is his name? Cameron Grimes, whatever like that, who was Trevor Lee on the Indies. You've got guys now who I think they're just trying to just get up there as fast as possible. You know what I mean? Which means if you're AEW, though, last thing on this topic before we move on, if you're AEW looking at that show, right, looking at what they're trying to attempt to do, are you worried at all, or are you even more confident that, we got this?
I'm not worried that much at all, honestly. I think their product's going to just benefit from the one show, once we just starting now too, you get built new storylines and everything. I think you have enough talent there. Like you have 9 great tag teams there already that you can just sprinkle around and have good matches with. I do hope, because looking at the first card, it doesn't look super outgoing.
I think after the title match stuff, after they crown champions, I think AEW's gonna be boring for a little while.
I do too.
Because it's like you got to kind of put a foundation down. Yeah. So people are gonna be like, this is okay.
Yeah, I
not until like 3-4 months down the road, you're like,
because you have like MJF and somebody,
right,
and then you have like Sammy Guevara and Cody. But I was like, none of those are really like, wow, that's gonna be a match.
Woo! Yeah,
I do think though that you can sprinkle in a lot of, so this random January 23rd episode of Dynamite now it's called officially.
Yeah.
You're gonna have the world title match just like randomly because you're only asking Jericho to come once a month to do his stuff or twice a month or whatever. Yeah. So you can just here's a big world title match. Oh, here's a big #1 contenders match. Here's a big whatever.
Right.
I think you can
once we kind of start developing some stories and we care about who's going and what, then we'll see it. So I'm anticipating people to be like, what happened? Well, I thought it was supposed to be the greatest thing ever, and people are going to go turn on it so fast. I think people need to wait a little bit just to kind of see things develop before people start jumping on or off the bandwagon.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
I agree.
All right, let's talk Clash of Champions and get out of here. Thoughts on Clash of Champions? Pretty much everything is exactly the way we left it before Clash of Champions, except the tag titles flipped. That's the extent of what happened, really, at Clash of Champions. No new champions besides that. U.S. titles stayed the same, Intercontinental, World titles, everything's hunky-dory.
Yes.
So, thoughts on the show? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Do you have to ask this question?
I enjoyed some of it.
I like two matches I actually liked.
Which ones?
I like the Universal match.
Yeah.
And
that's becoming the workhorse match.
Yeah, for sure.
That's the best match on the card.
It should be. You're the world champion. You're supposed to be the best.
Well, it's funny because the WWE title match is probably the most boring match.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that was terrible. I like the tag match too. I like the Raw tag. I like that. Okay. I enjoyed the Ziggler-Roode thing. I enjoyed the fact that they're trying to elevate Roode. I enjoyed the fact that they had the inner conflict with Braun and Seth. Seth taking the fall was big, right? Because then it's like, well, you blew it, that kind of thing. And I enjoyed the Fiend kind of, that
part is
at the end. Before we talk about that, because we're talking about that at the end, favorite match? Was it the Universal title match for you?
Yes. Okay. I do like the Revival winning the SmackDown tag titles, but then the night after they kind of ruined it by Braun Strowman just killing all four of them.
Yeah.
So.
And the match was no heat either.
That's my problem with the tag titles. Really, most of the titles is you'll get new champions,
and then they get destroyed by somebody who hasn't done anything.
The next day they'll just get destroyed, and you're like, well,
that makes no sense.
Yeah,
right.
Why did Braun Strowman just beat two pairs of tag team champions?
Right. Yeah.
I'm like now so any old guy can just win it now.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my problem with at least the tag titles. I think all the titles a little bit in general.
Yeah. Absolutely. Worst match.
What's your worst match? I gotta think. Probably I think the most boring one was the WWE title one. Mm-hmm. I think I was kind of out of it to the very, very end when it ended so abruptly that I was like, oh, that's wild.
Yes.
So maybe that.
I didn't like the Revival New Day match. I thought it came in really cold. I didn't think anything. I thought this New Day being tag champions this run was useless. Didn't need to happen. Pretty much. I didn't really enjoy. I didn't understand the whole AJ beating Cedric in 7 seconds. That didn't make any sense either.
They're burying him pretty hard. I guess.
Yeah, right. And I don't. And that whatever. I don't necessarily care whether or not they bury Cedric Alexander, but don't have him get all these wins just to don't make a match just to have a match. That drives me insane when it comes to that stuff. That you can't just have, if you want to make that title worth something, which you clearly want it to, if you've got AJ holding it, you can't just have him face anybody. It makes no sense in that regard.
Bayley and Charlotte went 3 minutes 45 seconds.
Yeah, that was fine. And I thought, I understand the schmaz for the Raw Women's, which is I'm not going to give it because they're going to go to Hell in a Cell. That's cool. I'm with that. I'm going to say the WWE title match just because of the amount of TV time and equity WWE put into that. I thought it did not deliver what I thought it would. And I know people are like, I'm really liking Kofi as champion. I'm the complete opposite. I have not enjoyed Kofi's reign at all. Even a little bit. I really haven't. I think that he has been booked like a tag team wrestler who happens to be world champion. Mm-hmm. He's winning these matches, I get it, but these matches have not been great. They really haven't. And two, I don't think that anybody's I don't think anybody cares. Yeah. That's the problem. And I think it's partially due to the challengers, but at the same time, you're supposed to make me care. You're the WWE champion. You can only be the underdog for so long.
Yeah.
You've been champion for 6 months. You're not the underdog anymore. It's not a thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, give it about 12 days.
I was thrilled. I was low-key. I was thrilled. I was thrilled. I was thrilled when Lesnar came out.
Yeah.
Because I was like, finally. Because at least when Brock goes out there, even if it's 7 minutes, it's 7 minutes of non-stop him going balls to the wall. Mm-hmm. Even if he holds it for another 6 months, I don't care. Because at least I know that when Brock does face somebody, they're going to make it a big deal.
Yeah.
When Kofi faces somebody, they're talking about stuff that happened in 2008. I don't care anymore. Or whatever. It doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Orton was at the top of his game then. He's not now.
Yeah.
It's just not, it's not a thing. What was your worst match?
Like I said, I think the most boring one was the WWE title match.
Mm-hmm.
I would say worst match may have been the SmackDown tags, or the SmackDown Women's match. I guess all of SmackDown didn't really perform like I thought they would. Maybe
you had on paper it looked okay, but it just comes in cold, right? Charlotte, I almost feel like Charlotte's gonna be the women's match again. It's like I get it, but like what does Charlotte gain by doing that? She doesn't gain anything either, and they're kind of booked themselves in the corner with her. That's a topic for another day. All right, let's talk about Hell in a Cell here for a second. Thoughts on the Fiend challenging for the Universal title at Hell in a Cell? We've talked about this off air before quite a bit, but just give me your thoughts now so everybody can hear the wisdom.
It's a hard spot to be in, especially being in Hell in a Cell.
Yes,
you're in a tough booking spot because if you win, is it too early? And you can't have him lose.
Yep.
And in Hell in a Cell, they're almost 95% of the time that has to be a definitive winner, unless you're Strowman and Lesnar and you get a schmoz finish, or Roman and Lesnar or whatever it was. You get a schmoz finish where it's no contest inside Hell in a Cell. That's fine.
Yeah, right.
But besides that one instance, there's always a finish in Hell in a Cell, and either the Fiend's gonna win, and I think it's a little too early because he beat Finn Balor, who was Finn Balor. And he didn't even beat Demon Finn Balor. He beat regular man Finn Balor.
Right.
And then if he loses, you literally killed him so quickly because now he's beatable.
Right.
So I think you're in a little booking situation unless, and I don't want him to get help to win, but unless he gets help to win, maybe that's...
See, that's the thing.
But
once again,
I want him to just kill somebody.
The problem with the Fiend character, and I think it's one of the more creative things that they've done in a long time, and he has the potential to be the Undertaker, is what he has the potential to be.
Yeah.
Like low-key, right? That's what he has the potential to be. But with what they're at, they're putting themselves in a corner, you're absolutely right, where if he wins the title, why does he care about the title?
Yeah.
Why does he care about the W? Like, the Undertaker always had a little bit of a human element to him, right?
Yeah.
Even when he was like, he didn't say much and Paul Bearer was there, he always, at the end of the day, there was always a little bit of, I need that.
Okay,
you know what I mean?
So I guess I have more questions about the Fiend character.
Yeah.
Is the Fiend character like the demon for Finn Balor, where he just brings him out during matches?
Right.
Because I think at that point, then, like, the Firefly Funhouse thing, maybe Bray Wyatt wants the title, and he uses the Fiend to get it.
Well, then tell me that, then, right? Then
that's what I mean.
Like, I would have rather seen Bray go on a massive losing streak, go for the title, not get it, right? And be like, I have to do something now to get this, right?
Yeah.
I have to go and find this other side of me to obtain what I want. And if that means I have to take out the worst parts of me and put it out there to achieve my goal, then I'm cool.
Yeah.
But that's not what they've done.
Yeah,
they've just said, he's this happy, fun-loving guy, but he's got that inner monologue of like, but you mess with me and we're going to have a problem. You know what I mean?
I guess that's the disconnect of the story I have. Because I thought the Fiend was just like,
just gonna be this badass dude.
Yeah,
right,
that's what I thought it was.
Yeah, like he's a monster. He's not a person. He's a thing. Yeah. He's an entity, which I'm totally for. But having him win the Universal Championship, I go, but why does he want the Universal Championship? Yeah. You can't tell me, well, he's a wrestler. He's not a wrestler, though. He's a monster. That's the point, is that he's not like you or I. He is like, he's a whole different thing.
Yeah.
So if Bray on the Firefly Funhouse would like have a picture of the Universal title and be like, man, I really wish I could have that. That's so pretty. That's really cool. You know what I mean? Yeah. But then he couldn't do it, and let's say he and Rollins faced off where he was just himself and he got beat in 2 minutes, right? Then you go, okay, he can't do it. So then he needs to bring out the Fiend in order to accomplish that goal. That I understand completely. Mm-hmm. But that's not where they've gone. You know what I mean? So I think it's confusing. I think they booked themselves into a corner, and I'm extremely excited to see how they mess it up. It'll be great.
I just want to see the entrance again.
I know. It is really, 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 really well done. So it'll be very interesting. All right, that's going to be it for episode 43 of the I'm Always Right Sports Podcast. Remember, we have a brand new website, I'mAlwaysRightPC.com. You see all the latest happenings with us on there. Remember, our podcast goes live every Monday at 7 a.m. And on Wednesdays, the YouTube feed goes live. So make sure you guys are subscribed to our YouTube channel. Please do that. It helps us out immensely. I can't tell you how much it helps us out when you give us a follow. For the Merc Zone, I'm the Mouth of Michigan, and we will see you guys, as always, next time.